And I am just so thrilled to continue this day-long live broadcast with all the top leaders in the industry to celebrate GMID 21. And I am just ecstatic to share with you that I have the honor and pleasure to talk with the president and CEO of Professional Convention Management Association, of course, better known as PCMA. And he's also the president of the PCMA Foundation and publisher of Convene magazine. We're talking about none other than CAE Sherrif Karamat. So don't go anywhere. We will definitely be right back because we've got a lot to cover with him and just grateful that he'll be here. So stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. Hello, I'm Deborah Gardner with Hospitality Today Live, and I am thrilled as can be to have Sherrif Karamat here with us live. Hi, Sherrif.
Hello, Deborah. It's so wonderful to be with you, and hello, world. Happy GMID Day.
Yeah, happy GMID to you, sir, as well, sir. I am just so thrilled to be here with you and you here as well with all of our viewers because we've got a lot to talk about pertaining to this special celebratory day. And I know we're going to talk about the value of the industry. But before we do that, I remember about this time last year, you were on a webinar that had a discussion on the devastating effects in our industry. And this was about a year ago. And you said something so profound. You said, we are not rushing to meet, we are rushing to educate. And I am so glad you said that because, boy, has it been an educational year for all of us. Can you elaborate on that powerful statement?
Well, you know, first, Deborah, it is such a pleasure to be with you here today. I love this. And indeed, to everyone around the world that's watching this program, you know, rushing to meet is the means to an end. But the purpose of why we meet is what this is all about. And the reality is that we were going through maybe one of the most trying times in our lives. And we needed to think differently. We needed to inform and educate our audiences about what we were going to face. So rushing to meet was not paramount in my mind. What was paramount in my mind was, are we going to allow our healthcare and frontline employees to do their jobs so they can take care of us, and then equip ourselves with the knowledge that we needed to have so we can focus on the purpose of why we meet. And so that has not changed over the year. What has changed is that the channel of face-to-face has been profoundly disrupted by COVID, but the purpose of events has not changed.
That's beautiful. Yeah. I just, you know, a year later, I still remember that statement and it stuck with me because it is so true and so powerful. But it's so also nice to see that things are turning around. I mean, we had some good news from the Bureau of Labor reporting over 280,000 jobs added in March, just in the hospitality industry. And even with the digital world exploding, which we're going to talk about, we are seeing people so eager to return to face-to-face. And that is really, really good news. Now, let's move on to the value of the industry. We've got a lot to talk about here. The passion that you have to talk about this, you're the perfect person to interview with this. And so why aren't we looked at as a valuable or even an essential industry? Aren't we seeing it within ourselves? Isn't the world seeing this as well? Let's talk about the value of our industry.
Certainly, and great question, by the way. We have not largely presented our industry as outcomes. We have presented this industry in the eyes of our supply side, which is the means to the end. My point in this is that we should really focus on the outcome of events, the purpose of holding business events. And so that's on the demand side. I feel if we focus on the demand side, we will be able to articulate the value. What we do in the business events industry is about driving economic outcomes. We drive social transformation in every single sector. The business events industry is a meta industry. It touches every facet of society. So think about how powerful and important this industry is. So by focusing just on the spend to achieve the means is only covering a very small part of the story. And the idea of us focusing on the outcomes, the impact that we are having on broader society is so powerful. And if we do that, we will be recognized. We have not done that effectively in the past. We have actually not done it at all. What we have done is allowed other people to take our narrative. And let me give you an example. Most recently, in the past 2 months, Jeff Bezos said that he saved $1 billion in travel and entertainment, but his profits were up $100 billion. I think that that's amazing that Jeff could make that additional profit. But if we had a narrative to say that, Jeff, if you had spent the additional $1 billion, your profits would be $200 billion, that would have been a great thing to say, except we do not have the research because we haven't focused on the outcome side of the business. The purpose of business events is why we have business events, why it is going to be important going forward. So let's really change the spotlight that we've had on the supply side. What will actually happen to the supply side? It will become stronger. It will be more needed because the more business events and the more that the world recognizes the purpose of business events, the more we will need our suppliers and the more we'll engage with them.
Very good points. Very good points. And I'm glad you mentioned that because the suppliers are just as concerned as the decision makers on how the post-pandemic is going to affect them and where their value will come from. Because once we get back, it's going to be a slew of competition. I mean, everybody's going to want, the buyers, the decision makers business, everybody's going to want a particular venue or service. It's going to be crazy post-pandemic. But the value is what you're saying, what it really comes down to. And if we haven't been doing a good job of it, what are we going to, what's the bottom line? How can somebody, stop giving false promises and really hone down on what their value is coming out of this post-pandemic?
Well, first and foremost, we have to change the narrative. We have to focus on what the event organizer is doing. So whether you're the Hematological Society or you're a corporation of any kind, technology or whatever, what are the outcomes that they're looking for and the purpose of the business events to achieve those outcomes? So it's an easy bridge to me. At the same time, we use business events to drive economic, not just economic good, but social good. So, Deborah, something that I think that we should all be aware of. With anything that we have brought to society, it came together because we fostered human connections. We came together, we discussed, we challenged, we tested, and that meant we met. We looked each other eye to eye and said, how can we solve this complex issue? That's what business events is about. That is an easy narrative. There will be no competition for the suppliers. We will need more venues. We will need more facilities if we understand the purpose of business events and we leverage that lethal power to drive good outcomes. So I'm so bullish about this, and I'm bullish because what has happened over the last year or so actually put a spotlight of the importance of human connections. It put a spotlight in what we can achieve when we meet and we come together. Now, it does not mean that events going forward is going to be all about face-to-face. We
Right.
have to leverage every channel there is. And this is both face-to-face, digital, social, print, and the like. If we do that, think about the ecosystem that we will build, the amount more people that we will engage, which will mean that we will actually foster coming together and solving issues faster, not making it more challenging.
Good point. Then if that is going to lessen the competition among each other, it's a matter of really focusing on those outcomes and how you're going to deliver those in order to find your complete value.
Yeah, and
that
part
is
of
key.
that, if I can jump in there, part of that, I am a
Absolutely.
little bit concerned about some of our smaller suppliers. They are, whether they're DMCs or PCOs or just the smaller production companies that we need to help us make our experiences much more engaging. And I am concerned that the impact that the pandemic has had on them and their business models, that might be a challenge for us as we go back into a different type of experience that is in front of us.
Well, and hopefully the value will expand into the hybrid space to help those small businesses, because there should be plenty of business for everyone in this industry. As small as we are, it's big actually. And when we're talking about the value of hybrid, which is going to be a whole new ball game, I know it's going to be tough on the planners. You know, I've heard even from some of them, it could be a nightmare because it's planning 2 meetings in one. How do we find the value when there's two, you know, the hybrid experience is involved, and what should the suppliers or even the decision makers expect?
Well, first and foremost, think about this as if we are doing a hybrid model. We're engaging so many more people. So
Right.
we're creating more jobs, right? Automatically, we're creating more jobs. Secondly, I understand that we all need to upskill and reskill because the reality is that we're taking on increased responsibility. But it does not mean that you have to do everything. If you're focused on your purpose and you're focused on engaging your audience, there are going to be different people on your team with different skill sets that bring this to life. Let me make an analogy, and I think that if you think about, but let me talk about this in two parts. I think we're thinking of events just as a hybrid event and everything has to happen at the same time. Does it really have to happen at the same time? Can you have a face-to-face event and then have a digital event that's completely separate? Of course, you can do them together, but you can also do them separately. What we've got is an opportunity to redesign and recreate anything we want. The beauty about what's happened to us is that the world has given us liberty to experiment. Now let us go and bloody well experiment and do the things that we need to do. So I want to make an analogy and talk about the power of what's happened to us if we can just appreciate it. So think about, I'm in Chicago, we're at the Cubs game, and there was no television, okay? It didn't exist, there's no live stream, no nothing. And the stadium holds 60,000 people. That's all you can hold. Now think about if that was your entire world, an ecosystem, that's all you would ever have is 60,000 people. Think of a convention the same way. You've got 25,000 people at McCormick, right? But now think that that's 60,000 people at the Cubs game. We suddenly got television and we can broadcast to 600 million worldwide. It's a different business model. We need broadcasters, color commentators, we need production and the likes, everything that we need, instant replay and so forth, right? Think of the event the same way. We need the same skills, the same talent, everything to make that happen. But you take the 25,000 people convention and broadcast it to 2.5 million worldwide. It's a different business model. You might be selling different things. You're engaging different audiences. Think of the brand exposure you're doing for your event, your cause, your purpose to the world. The power is simply lethal if we can only grab it and run with it. And if we are not prepared to, we will lose. When the music industry was disrupted, first by Napster, okay, and we always use this word disruption as bad. It's good too, right? When the music industry was first disrupted, you and I maybe didn't necessarily want to go to a record store to buy a record or a CD or whatever we call it today. What we wanted, though, we never stopped loving music, right?
Right.
We wanted it delivered to us differently. We still want to go to a concert. So think of the concert as the face-to-face event and the digital download of the song as a digital event.
Right.
How much more music are we selling today than before? It's exploded.
Totally exploded.
Our world is there for the taking. We need courageous leaders at this time. And we know that if we focus on the purpose of this industry, of driving economic outcomes, driving social outcomes, there is nothing that's going to stop us. We need to own it. Think of an event organizer, the power in their roles.
Right. Good point.
This is our time, Deborah. This is our time to grab this.
Good idea. I couldn't say it any better, because I believe that's what participants or attendees are expecting. They're going to be expecting that. If not, they're going to change the channel and they're going to end up going somewhere else. So great analogy, because we got used to it. We love music more now than ever. And that's where we want to go, because a lot of people would say, well, when are we going to go back to meetings? Well, we're not going to go back. We can't go back. If we go back, we're going to, like you said, we're going to lose, and we're going to lose bigger than ever. So we don't want to go back. We want to go forward with new ideas, new innovations, new experiences. And that's exactly what our attendees are going to be expecting, or I don't know what we're going to do, but it's not going to be good. It's not going to be
good. They're going to do what you said. They're going to switch the channel.
Exactly.
Someone else is going to deliver for them, and good on that someone else, because the reality is that what is really empowering and uplifting is the participant is now ever empowered, and they have choices. And they will go to the choices that are going to deliver for them, that is going to engage them and provide value. We cannot show up and expect that people will show up for us. We actually have to deliver. Very
good point. And to go a little bit deeper into this conversation, it has a lot to do with relationships within the industry coming together as well. It's always that you got to start at the top and it trickles down. And I believe that there can be a lot of partnering, a lot of collaboration going on within the industry. As a matter of fact, the PCMA, when you acquired CEMA not too long ago, should we have other partners? Should there be a lot of consolidation? Should be acquiring each other to be bigger and better?
Well, and sometimes bigger is not always better, right? But I would say that we should collaborate. We should collaborate more. And PCMA and CEMA, specifically the corporate event marketers, we started out with a strategic relationship. And that led to a much broader partnership within the two organizations. We have done the same with the Virtual Edge Institute and ISAP in Asia. But we also are doing this with Destination Marketing International, or DI, Destination International, where we partner together to deliver Destination Showcase in Washington, D.C. every year. These are all endemic to our industry. I think that what we need to do is also partner with people that are from different sectors and different industries. And I strongly believe the magic will happen when we start partnering with people from outside of our space, from creative industries, from creative agencies, from the movie industries, for example. All different sectors, from the scientific and technological and AI. If we do that, we will bring new value. In the book, The Medici Effect, it is said that there is new ideas are formed at the intersection of existing ideas. And those intersection happens not by the same people from the same industry, but by the intersection of people from disparate industries that drive new innovations, new outcomes. We need to do that as an industry. And so I wholeheartedly encourage collaboration, partnership, and at PCMA, of course, we're all about collaboration and partnership.
Oh, good idea. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Wow. I think that's where you can really get some great ideas when you go outside the industry, and pulling that in, because sometimes we're just too close, too emotionally attached, to the ideas that we've always been doing. And until you go outside the industry, and then it's like, wow, the clouds have just opened with all kinds of new ideas and ways of doing business. So thank you. That was
Let me
really,
pick up
really
on a
brilliant.
word you used, ideas.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. There is, how do you get to know what you need to know when you don't know you need to know it?
Right.
You don't get to know that by sticking around with the same cohort. You intersect with other people, right?
Right.
Other industries. That's
Right.
how we grow. That's how we learn. My parents used to always tell me is that if you're the smartest kid in the room, you're pretty stupid.
Right. Right.
Get out of the room and go with people that are smarter. We learn from others. We of course there's lots of learnings that we can learn from people in the industry, but our real aha moments are going to come when we start intersecting with other industries and learn from them.
Good point. Good point. Boy, that was a golden nugget right there. So I really hope our viewers can start strategizing their business around just even that one golden nugget, because that'll make a difference coming out of this pandemic. And when you were talking about learning, you were talking with countless hours of many, many people, but all great leaders have mentors. Do you have a mentor?
Well, I have a few,
Do
and
you? Okay.
I have first and foremost, I had a very strong mother who believed in education, and Deborah, if you know my family, we have a school for young kids, and so my mother was very, very instrumental in studies and instilled. So she would tell you stories at 5 years old. I would have a ton of books under my arms going to school, but I wasn't eligible to go to school. So, but it was that. So that's a big mentor. But I've had quite a few. In Toronto, Barry Smith has always been a mentor to me. In Boston, Jim Rooney from the presidency of the Chamber of Commerce and so forth, and of the Boston Chamber of Commerce has been a mentor to me. And someone who I think is exceptionally bright that is in our industry, his name is Oscar Cerezalis. And Oscar always pushes me to think differently, always tells me my thinking is not good enough, which is so good for me because it allows me to be humble and learn more. So I have people who are mentors, but also people that aspires me to be better and be a better me. I also want to give a little shout out to the former CEO of PCMA, who saw a lot of things in me. And as a female leader, she was an interesting woman that really actually really pushed me to be the best me. And so that's Deborah Sexton. And so there's a lot of people that have certainly in life. I think we need a lot of different inspirations at different times in our lives, and people to see things in us that we can't see in ourselves. And that journey, that to me is a continuous journey. So I think that if we can all be fortunate to have those people, and I think most people are willing to help because they've had good experiences themselves in life.
Good point. Good point. And it's good to know that leaders at the top of the realm like yourself have mentors, because it is all about learning, constantly learning. We need to be students all the time, no matter, what position or level you are in the industry. So, wow, those are strong, great mentors.
Deborah, yesterday I was in a program with a think tank for George Washington University Business School. And the students, to me, I think that we also have to think about reverse mentorship. I know they were thinking of me as a thought leader and as a thinker, but frankly, I got more out of it than I could have ever given them. And
Wow.
so we have to understand that youth, what we can learn from them and their ideas and how they express themselves, there's so much to learn there. So we should hang on to that, grab hold of it and learn. And because first, to let us stay youthful, but secondly,
Yeah.
the way young people think, and they switch and navigate between different mediums and different ideas, it's just, to me, fascinating. And I'm inspired by it.
That's great. That's great. Well, also, looking back and reflecting to this past year, did the pandemic teach you anything or validate anything for you?
It taught me many things. One is that how fragile life can be. I must tell you, I know many people who have lost loved ones, including me and my family who have lost loved ones. And so I first in the fragility, and that what we have is the now, and we should make the best of the now. And if we make the best of now, of this very moment that we're in, tomorrow will take care of itself because we took care of today. We cannot undo past things, and we should not try to undo past things. What we should do is be the best today, and tomorrow will take care of itself because you'll be prepared. So much of that it's reinforced that so much for me. It also reinforced to me faith in humanity. So much came to life in the last year, whether it's a social awakening and awareness and so forth. I have a lot of optimism that this industry coming together, you and me looking each other in the eye and having a conversation, we can disagree all we want, but what happens is we'll foster understanding that allows us to at least make a bridge to say, listen, I might not agree with you, but I respect you, and thus I will respect your opinions, and you can be you and I can be me. Right. So much good stuff is come out of this. And of course, there's the sad parts that we have lost so many innocent lives in the last year that we can't undo, but let's see how we can keep their memories alive.
Good point. Good point. Well, we have one more question for time's sake. It goes so fast, but I want to take this from Derek Johnson, who is on the show here watching today. He says, what's one thing we must stop doing and or consider changing to help evolve our industry? Great question.
Well, I think that we should stop meeting for meeting's sake.
Okay.
I think that we should focus laserly on our purpose. And if we focus laserly on our purpose, then we will do just the things that are necessary to make that purpose. So we will be able to overachieve. So really having clear focus on your purpose. That will, if you focus on your purpose, it will tell you what you should and should not be doing. I think many things that we do in this industry is just redundant. It's just not bringing new value. And how many meetings do we have in this industry? How many meetings, organizations do we have in this industry? Do we need them? Do we need another meeting to go and see the same people over and over and over? What we need to do is resolutely focus on our purpose and go after that purpose. And that will allow us then to decide what should and should not be done.
Good point. Very good point. Very good point. Well, I lied. I do have one more question for you. And it's a tough one. It's a real tough one. As a matter of fact, I asked your COO, Bruce McMillan, this tough question too. So I thought I'm gonna ask you too. And since as we again reflecting back to this whole year, and you've been home a lot more, I just want to make sure and ask you: have you been helping around the house?
Listen,
taking trash out, doing the dishes.
So let me tell you, I did the dishes last night. I actually made dinner last night. And I did take the trash out yesterday. So I did all three of those things.
Oh my goodness.
What? So Bruce, I might be doing more than you. So I'll ask Judy to see who's really living up.
Exactly.
But one thing I'll tell you that I wish I was doing more of is that I'm a fanatic about exercising. And I have not been exercising to the extent that I would like to. So I really got to get back to it. And one thing I've been doing in excess is drinking too much red wine. So
Cheers to that. I think I've discovered all kinds of new types of red wine.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely. Well, this has been such a pleasure having you here on this especially this special edition for GMID 21. And I know that PCMA EdCon is going to be July 7th through the 9th at the Desert Ridge Marriott, located here in Phoenix, Arizona, which happens to be right down the street from where I live. And we know there's going to be a lot of connecting, educating, and inspiring businesses being done. And of course, you're going to meet safe. And so all the attendees can expect safeness. But I just want to say this has just been a complete delight having you here. And I would imagine I'm going to go ahead and put some the contact information up if anybody would like to contact you with your email and website. Is there any other way that people can contact you?
Well, those are the best ways to contact me. My email, my website for sure. Deborah, let me say this has also been an absolute pleasure. You're just awesome to be interviewed by, so I loved it. And I hope that your year is going amazingly well. And thank you for this. And do know that you have a special invite to EduCon at the JW Desert Ridge. And I'm looking forward to seeing you then. Thank you so much. And I wish everyone a very, very happy Global Meetings Industry Day. Please stay safe, stay well, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you so much. Yes, I will see you at PCMA EdCon, July 7th through the 9th. Thank you again.
Take great care.
Well, there you have it. We just had a wonderful conversation with Sherrif Karamat, and he is the CEO, president of PCMA, and it's just a thrill to have him on the show talking about the value in the industry. And if you'd like to see this episode again, a replay, or even share it with others, by all means, just go to our Hospitality Today Live Facebook page and YouTube channel as well. And I want to also thank our sponsor for this entire day on GMID 21, AIM Meetings and Events, the home of the no-cost COVID testing program. You'll definitely want to go to their website and see how you can apply that even in just the comfort of your home. So we are going to continue here live on GMID 21 broadcast. Next up, we are thrilled to have you meet our amazing guest, Jason Dunn. Jason Dunn is with the Cincinnati, USA Convention Visitors Bureau. And today, Jason will talk about his passion about tourism. What is community selling? And also bring a different perspective on how people represent their cities and businesses. And we're going to take a break right now for about 15 minutes. So be back, and we would be delighted to continue talking about and continuing the conversation right here on Hospitality Today Live.